Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Geeking Out podcast. I am the Athletic Geek, and I am joined by someone that I just recently stumbled upon Twitter, doing 10-second drawings of our profile pictures, and then found out that, they do a whole lot more than just 10-second drawings. There's a lot of content that they have created over the years, and my guest this week is the Quaff. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Um, so my first question to all my artist guests
Yes.
are, what sort of things growing up were you interested in that made you want to pursue creativity like art? You know, was it manga? Was it comic books? Was it just what was it that was kind of drew you into the world of fantasy and art?
All right. Well, actually, the very first thing I ever learned to draw was The Simpsons.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, that's they had like this episode, and that afterwards, Matt Groening came on and was like, "This is how you draw Homer," and I was like, "That's easy."
I
So
think
I
I
started drawing Homer.
I think I remember that because like the secret is it's like his initials are hidden on Homer's
Yes,
head.
yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
What was it?
Yes.
M and G for the hair and the ear. Yeah, you
Yeah.
saw that too.
Yep.
Wow, that's the first thing. That's the first place I learned how to draw, like outside of just like stick figures and like things like that. So that was the first legit thing I drew, and after that, me and all my brothers would just love to draw and copy our favorite cartoons. Dragon Ball Z
Oh, yeah.
was like the next thing that we were all drawing, and like um so it basically went off from there. Drawn mostly like stuff, cartoons and stuff we saw on TV, like Dragon Ball stuff from like Saturday morning cartoons that we would see. And so yeah, that's kind of, I guess you could say that's where my drawing journey started.
So you see that episode of The Simpsons, you draw Homer Simpson.
Yes.
Um, in the area that you lived in, was art really encouraged in your school system, or was it just a hobby on the side?
Um, yeah, I grew up in New York, kind of close to New York City.
Okay.
Yeah, about like 40 minutes north. So it was we had a lot of yeah, so a lot the art was a decent size in that school. I'm not sure what to
Okay.
compare it to, but yeah, it was definitely encouraged, and we had a pretty substantial art program.
Um, what were some of the first things you learned from actually taking art classes as compared to just drawing on your own? Because I know some people don't like learning from a class. They like just their own freedom to draw how they wish. And then some people encourage classes because it helps you fine tune your skills. Where do you kind of stand on that? And if you do feel it helped you, where did it?
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't really thought too much about like what, because I did both. I learned a lot from school, but also I studied a lot from YouTube as well and did my own thing. Um, but basically, I would say art class. What the best thing that I got from art class would be like, I guess, studying from life, like life drawings and stuff like that, like learning and like studying like composition and kind of the more like theory behind art, like why is it good, um as opposed to just like, just like, oh, I think it's good, and you have to, oh, this is actually how the eye flows around the paper. All that kind of boring stuff, I would say, is probably the the most useful stuff you learn from like school, is like because nobody wants to study that on their own. So
Right.
yeah, it's good that they force it in you, because it's very important. It's very important, but nobody wants to study it. So that's why school's good for that, because they force it on you.
Um. So lots of good art programs when you're growing up. Do
Yeah.
do no? Go ahead, please.
Oh, no, I would say like throughout like middle and high school, I kind of just did it for fun, because I just like to draw like weird stuff, and like mostly just like yeah, like zombies and gory stuff, and just to freak out the teachers. But once I got into college, I took like two art classes, and I'd say that was probably the most insightful of my in terms of actual legitimate colleges
I was just getting ready to ask you,
classes. Yeah.
were you going to pursue, or did you try to pursue an art major after high school, or did you have other sorts of aspirations at the time, and then art was just kind of for fun or secondary or elective classes? Where did art rank when you decided to pursue higher education?
It's funny. What happened first? Yeah, at first I was like, oh, everybody, you know, everybody just tries to take something lucrative, but then at the end they follow their dreams are. So I decided to just skip, taking something called engineering or whatever that would make money, and I was like, I'm just gonna study art,
Okay.
and so I did that for like 2 semesters.
And how was your college experience with art? Hello? Hello? I think we might have had some difficulties here. Hold on.
We're great.
Oh, I hate to tell you this. We had a little uh, dip in the what you're saying, so we missed all of that. I'm sorry.
Dang it! I made some great jokes. I'll try and replicate them. All right, so where was I? So yeah, I
Higher
studied
education.
yes, yes, yes. So actually, I decided to take art in the beginning because I was like, why not just do something fun and follow my dreams, I guess,
Yeah.
because um
Forget about engineering. Just
yeah,
head on into it. But how was your experience though?
the experience itself was pretty good. Like the teachers was my first professor, he was actually very like insightful and actually like pushed like artistic integrity and how to make composition, um, how to study what you're looking at and to translate it onto paper. Like very, very like technical and very practical teacher. Um, it was great. The first thing he did is he had this textbook and he said, "I'm sorry for people who bought the textbook because we're not going to use it." And I was like, thank God I didn't buy that textbook. I was that guy who I was like, I ain't spending $300 on a textbook. So and he was like, you don't learn art through a textbook. Like this is dumb. But they need you to write essays. So just write your name on a piece of paper and that's your essay. So I was like, yes,
So he sounds like the
someone who
cool
gets.
teacher.
Yeah, he was, and he got it. He understood it completely. It's like you're not in art to study write papers. I'm here to draw things. So that guy was really cool, and I learned a lot from him. But my second semester art teacher, she was the opposite. She was like, "Here's your writing assignment for the class, and make sure you study this historical figure." I was like, "Nope." Um, I don't even. I got by without doing a single writing thing. With like a C or something, even though my art was better than everyone else in class. But whatever. Whatever. What can you do?
It's funny you mention that because now, granted, I don't have an art background, but I took art as electives in my time in
Uh-huh.
college. And it depends on what teacher you get. You get some that are like, hey, that's cool what you're doing, whether it's, a fine arts class or a drawing class. And then you have some that are just like, very like, this is art. What you like is not art. You have to learn how to appreciate.
Oh yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
you're not appreciating, I had one teacher. I'm like, hey, I love Neil Adams, and she's like, that's not art. And then I had another teacher who's all like, yeah, Neil Adams is great, So
Yeah.
it, it's funny how similar of an experience. Like I hear a lot of people talk about how the different art teachers they have along the way. It's just it amuses me because it's like it
I
just
see. Yeah, that's fine. I guess there are those two teachers. I didn't realize that everybody has that. I was like, oh, I guess there's like those two sides of every art teacher coin.
right. And then
Yeah.
there's some that are like oh you're expressing yourself, so in your case, draw a samurai with a shotgun, and then there's one's like, why are you drawing a samurai with a shotgun? You're supposed to be drawing beautiful countryside right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
So you study art in college. Do you immediately try and make art a career, and follow that dream, or is the art field not quite as promising when you finish college and you have to go out and get a real job before the art dream comes back up?
Oh, actually, yeah, I realized that in the middle of my second semester that this would not be lucrative, so I switched to accounting. So that's complete opposite.
Yes.
I was sitting there and I was like, there's no future here. Like, all these people here, they're having fun and stuff, but there's no future. So I just switched to accounting, and I was like, I'm just gonna, and that's when I decided to just, do art as a hobby instead of like something that I actually, uh, you know, make into a career.
Interesting. Do you still? I mean, you don't have to give too much information, but do you still use accounting to pay the bills, or has art taken back over, or was that a good call?
No, it was, I would say, ineffectual call. I do engineering now, so
Okay.
I have a very long course of how I ended up with
It's
my
like,
career, but I do art on the side, and I make some good, it's a good side gig right
oh yeah.
now, so I'm pretty happy with what I did.
So, and this is the rabbit hole I fell down after I found you on Twitter. Shotgun
Mhm.
Samurai.
Yes.
What? Take me through how you created this character. What was the inspiration? First of all, I do have to ask: did the name Donkey Madness come from Digimon? Because I remember Donkey Madness being on Digimon. Please, is that where the name came from?
There was a Donkey Madness on Digimon.
Yeah, like was referenced like like as a video game on
Oh,
Digimon. So
I had
okay,
I had no idea. No, no, yeah, yeah. I just thought it would be a funny comic book name.
I mean it works, but I know
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
the first thing I thought about was like, oh, wonder if they're Digimon fans.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanted to pick something that sounded like it meant something, so people would think about it, but it doesn't actually mean anything. So
That's fair.
yeah, I was
Um,
like, I want people to think it means something, so they all like, you know, come up with something their own.
well, I mean, you got me, so
Yeah, there you go.
um,
See, it works. It works.
um, but yeah. So how do you come up with this idea? Um, who all works with this? Because I mean, you do so many things with this character. You have web comics. You have a live action video. Um,
Hmm.
what Take me through the idea behind all of this, and kind of the different mediums that this character has taken on, and just everything Shotgun Samurai.
Okay, sure. Well, I guess I'll start with how it all started. Me and my friend of mine, he's like the co-writer, and he was doing some presentation, and he needed to dress up as a character, just any old character. And I was like, well, do you have a costume? And he was like, I don't got anything. What do I do? And I was like, well, he's Japanese, so he has that, that robe called the yukata,
Okay.
uh yeah, or kimono, whatever, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I was like, well, you got that thing, and I had a fake shotgun, so I was like, why don't you be the shotgun samurai? And he was like, that doesn't exist. And I said, oh yeah. And there was a whiteboard, and I went over there, and I just did a quick drawing of him. I'm like, that's shotgun samurai, he exists now. And I was like, and he was like, oh, and I guarantee you, I'll have a 3-page comic by the time your presentation is going. And he was like, all
Nice.
right. So that night, I was just like, I drew up the first 3 pages of that book, just really quickly, really crumbly, and I just photocopied them. And before his presentation, I handed it out to every single person in his classroom. And I was like, all right, everyone. And he was like, okay, and so then he went up there and says, I am dressed up as the character from the comic book you are reading right now, and stuff like that. And I was like, yes. So that's basically how it started. And then what happened after that? So one of our professors, gave us an option to make a movie instead of writing an essay. So we were like, yeah, I don't want to write an essay. So me and my buddy just decided to use that character and make that live action movie you saw on YouTube. And then after that, my classmates, they all like fell in love with this character. All my friends were like, this is great. This is amazing. Actually, we made a second one. I don't know which one you saw.
I saw the ones that are just on the website.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both. Let me get back to the website and I can tell you exactly what they are.
Okay. Yeah. 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 Well, we made two. So the first one, and then my classmates all fell in love with it, and then we were like, I think we have something going on here. So me and my friend decided to just continue writing it, and I was like, I'm gonna take this more seriously and actually make a comic book out of this.
Okay.
Um, yeah, because I was like, I can. After I made the second movie, I was like, it's so much work to make a movie. It
There's
involves
the
what?
ones on your website. There's the Shotgun Samurai and then the Chains of Fate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those are the two movies,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I decided, it's easier if I just make it all myself. So I sat down and I started drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing, and that was 7 years ago. And I don't know if I haven't stopped drawing since, basically.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Um. So you dipped your toe in so many mediums.
Hmm.
What are kind of the pros and cons of shooting video as compared to drawing comics, and vice versa? The pros and cons of like comics compared to shooting a movie.
Okay. Well, I'd say in terms of movies, you can tell a lot more story a lot quicker with movies. It's easier to get the scene going. You just gotta like, oh, you move here, move there. You don't have to spend days drawing out one thing that would play over in like a couple seconds in a movie. So yeah, so I would say that's probably the biggest pro of a movie. And it's more accessible to people. More people are willing to watch a movie. You can spread it around easier. But and it feels more like, and you can see the audience's reaction. It's some nice interactivity going on with movies. But with the thing about comic books is it's much it although it takes significantly longer, it's much easier to get done because it's only you
Right.
that gets in. Yeah, with making a movie, I gotta schedule. I have to, figure out everyone's scheduling and get everyone to do it. And yeah, and then you know so many parts involved that come together, and I was like, this is too much. So it's just easier just to do it all yourself and and just draw. When you're in charge of it, it's easier to less things can fail.
Okay.
But so I would say that's probably, and also you don't have to worry about set pieces. Like you can come up with any scene you want, anything, and you're not restricted to like what's around you. You're not restricted by money. Like, I want like a giant castle. Then you just draw it instead of like having to find a castle for the background.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess there's more flexibility in the storytelling with comic books. You can tell much bigger stories. You can tell anything you want, but it just takes a lot longer and a lot more effort.
Very well said.
Hmm.
So there's so much that you've done. So many different issues of this that can be found on your website. Um, what are what has been something that you're really proud of with this project as you've seen it continue to grow for a number of years?
Oh, what am I proud of? That's a good question. I mean, my biggest thing is the fact that I finished the first story arc, which is like a huge breath of fresh air because like, if you asked me like 7 years ago if I can make a book like this, I'd be like, what are you talking about? And also make a book that people actually, there's like people out there who have read this book and they have, oh no, yeah, this is probably the most thing I'm proud of is people who read the book and they come back to me on their own free will and say, that book was amazing. I can't wait for the next one. That's like such an amazing feeling. Like I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wow, people, because when you're sitting there drawing it, it's like they say, like, comic book making is kind of a lonely profession because you're just sitting there by yourself in your own head drawing this thing, and you're like, I hope to God people like this thing. So it's just like that kind of validation, I guess, that people that what I was doing for 7 years actually is something good.
Um,
Is Yeah, that's probably something I'm very proud of.
have you been able to take this comic book and the movies, anywhere to like conventions, or have you been able to, really kind of put it out there to like fan gatherings like that, to where you get all those different interactions with people who maybe aren't familiar with it, but then they'll see your movie, or they'll read a few pages of your comic, and you get that direct feedback, or you know start talking to them. Have you had that? Have you been able to do that yet, or is that something that's maybe still down the road for you?
Yeah, definitely say down the road. I've been trying to figure out how I can get that. Yeah, I've been looking into it. I've been looking into conventions and stuff. Uh, going out there and selling my book. But yeah, I haven't actually because yeah, this is what was it? Only like a year ago, I actually really put it out there. Like before that, I was just putting it up on like webtoons just to like, and I didn't know how to get an audience, and I was just trying to naturally get it. But up in only last year when I launched my Indiegogo campaign, that's when I really started pushing it and interacting with people.
Okay.
So yeah, it's still kind of in the beginning stages of
Um,
yeah, the
Kind
book.
of tapering off of that, what are your goals for Shotgun Samurai in the future?
Yeah, so I've come up with I've been coming up with more of a plan of how to, I guess you can say, keep it in the lexicon. Um, so I want to, while I'm drawing the next chapter, I'm going to be writing other stories as well, and getting other artists to make smaller books, just to and other while I'm working on the next book. So I do have I have the next chapter, I would say a good chunk of it written already. Um, so while I'm getting that ready, I'm going to be, I have a bunch of other books that I've written as well that I'm going to get made into comics.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep the train going as much as I can.
You mentioned an Indiegogo campaign. Now, um, I know in recent years, especially in mediums like comic books, um, crowdfunding has become a big part of getting independent books off the ground. What was your
Hmm.
experience like with trying an Indiegogo campaign, and what is your advice to another creator that might be listening to this, that thinks that, okay, maybe I need to go that route in order to get my book out there? What advice would you have for that artist?
So basically, like how they can get like a crowdfunding campaign successful and kind of thing.
Yeah, and what to
So yeah,
expect from it, I guess, as well.
well, so you gotta really, it's definitely a lot of work. I mean, I would like kind of a weird thing is like my book, this is my first book and my first crowdfund. So, and it was pretty successful. So I like I know a lot of people like their third, fourth, or fifth book is the one that really breaks it out. But this is my first one. So I would say before you launch, really just network and find, people that you you mesh with, and then go on YouTube. Like, go find people who have YouTube channels and just go on it. Don't, regardless of, don't worry about like, affiliations with anything. Just go on whoever's YouTube channel that's willing to have you, and just be grateful that they're there. And now I know not everybody is a YouTube personality, but just do it and get the jitters out. Um, and then when you're ready to launch, you hope you can meet a lot of people who have YouTube channels,
Right.
and then they'll help you out.
As someone
So
as someone recording this for a YouTube channel, I greatly appreciate you saying that.
oh yeah, no, dude, like, yeah, seriously, like, that's why whenever people ask me for interviews, I'm like, yes, thank you. I appreciate it so much, because you guys are the you are the YouTube uh what's it called, environment. So there's like a nice symbiotic relationship I've discovered with the comic creators and then the YouTube creators.
Okay. Well, that's very well said. Thank you very much. And that's something I love to do, is just get learn about new projects. Like I love the leveling with everybody. The current comic book scene has left a lot to be desired, in my opinion. But
Yes.
there's so many creators out there that's like you may not be reading Batman or the X-Men or Wonder Woman or the Avengers, but you will find comic books that are good somewhere. You just might have to put the effort to find them, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. And
Mm-hmm.
the only way that books like yours, or other books, other artists and writers that on there, my friend Todd, my friend David, the only way they're ever going to get a chance to get it out there is, unfortunately, well, one, with crowdfunding, and two, just tell a friend that you read this book and tell them to go read the first few pages on Webtoon, or go buy the comic book, or what have you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, also definitely, if it's your first time creating, test the waters with yeah, putting it up on Webtoon or any kind of webcomic, see how the reaction is. That's how I knew my book was going to be I had a lot more confidence in my book after putting it up on Webtoons and seeing the reaction there. And also I got some feedback as well and was able to make some changes. But yeah, use Webtoon and webcomics to hone your craft, I guess you can say.
Well, I unfortunately, I'm at the time of this recording, I'm not feeling very well, and I'm gonna have to cut this one short. But first of all, I gotta know if I can have you back one of these times, because I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I'd love to hear more about what you're working on, and especially with the new comics you're creating. I'd love to hear more about that, especially after they get out there. But I'd be
Sure,
remiss if I didn't ask this one last thing,
sure.
and that is, where did you come up with the 10? I found your profile with 10-second sketches. A friend of mine, Eric Hodson, somebody else who do an Indiegogo, check him out. Retweeted it or something, and I'm like, okay, sure, I'll follow this guy and see what happens. And you didn't do a bad job drawing me and Minoru Suzuki in 10 minutes. So,
10
um,
seconds.
10 seconds. Yeah, sorry, my mistake. Um, so where did that come from?
Oh my God. Oh, so you're friends with Eric Hodson. Okay,
Yes.
yeah. Because it was me and him. Like, he had a competition. Me and him were doing a competition to get to 1,300 followers.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and he was like, he was smoking me out of the water. I had like 1,000, 80 something, and he had 1,200, like, something. And I was like, dude, he's like winning so bad. And I was like, you know what? I want to do something crazy. And I remember I found this, there was this other Twitter guy who would just like, he would just draw people's profile pictures every now and then. Um, and and I loved that. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, um, and so I was like, I'm gonna do like a 10-second thing like that. And so I was like, whatever. I didn't expect it to blow up. I'm gonna be honest. I thought I was gonna get like maybe 20, 30 people that night. And
You had to wait till the next day, I think, to finish some of those sketches, didn't you?
Oh no, he was like 2, 3
Oh
days
wow.
of sketching. I woke up early, drew like maybe 10 or 20, and then went and after work I drew like 50 maybe. Because like some big YouTubers like somehow like saw it and
Yeah.
retweeted it. Like you do you follow like that umbrella guy?
I've heard of him. Yes. Yes.
Okay,
I know who
yeah.
you're talking
He has
about.
like
Yeah.
yeah, he has like 18, he has a he has a huge following. He retweeted that and I was like, "What?" And then that's when I just got this huge influx of like people, and I got like over 250 that night, and
Dang.
I was like, this is I was like this, this was a mistake. This was, but I'm gonna do it. But I'm gonna do it. And so I drew all of them, 10-second profile pictures of everybody.
Awesome. Well, I'm certainly glad you did that. I'm certainly glad that you agreed to do this. I'm excited to have you back. Maybe next time it
Hmm.
won't be in while everything's blooming and it's given me and a few others that have allergies like me the hell of the year.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But I definitely want to have you back. I definitely want to just talk. If you ever want to collaborate on anything, just let me know because I appreciate you and how you feel about people like me having you on our podcast. So thank you very much for that from my end.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Um, and if you want to put it out there, where can people find Shotgun Samurai? Where can they find you? How can they check you out?
Shotgunsamurai.net is my website. That'll have all the links and everything to the information you need. And yeah, on Twitter, I go by the Quaff or at donkey underscore madness underscore. But if you search the Quaff, you'll find me.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Go check out his website. Go follow the Quaff. And if you enjoyed, please give this a like, share, subscribe for more content, not just from the world of comic books, but from the world of pro wrestling, gaming, anime, and all things geek culture. Also follow me on social media, facebook.com/athleticgeek89, Twitter at athletic_geek89, and Instagram at athleticgeek89. Thank you very much for the Quaff for agreeing to do this. We will be having him back sometime in the not too distant future, and we will see you all next time.